Give me the pet, please.
7 minutes, 5
please.
more.
Come on.
Look at this.
Come on.
God.
Can we do it?
Let's go!
Yes,
Let's go!
we did it! Oh
Yes!
my god!
We actually did it.
Hey guys, and welcome to a video covering my thoughts on the Croesus boss, but really on the entire front as a whole, so whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let's start by talking about the boss itself. Now, unlike some other boss releases, like Raksha's, this boss feels exactly like what they marketed the boss to be, and for a skilling boss, just like they said, it feels as close to PvM as you can probably get without using combat and taking damage, so they definitely hit the nail right on the head with this skilling boss. And if you compare it to the skilling bosses on old school Runescape, at least what I've heard from other players and personally seen and experienced, it does seem to be more intense than pretty much any single one of them. I'd even go as far as to say that this boss requires more coordination than most PvM content in the game. Not something like Yakimaru, of course, but you know what I mean. Now, I did try some public kills on day one. I just hopped in to see what would happen, and there was zero coordination. It was pure chaos. Oh no, wait, leave me alone. Help, save me. Alone, please.
I wish I could get there.
Please.
I need some.
I could just sip
I'm
potions,
stuck.
I'm good.
I'm
Great
not
footage.
Can we just spray the statues?
We're actually close to repairing all statues.
Oh, look at this.
oh.
Do it.
Attack.
Middle.
Kick its ass! Kick its ass!
Poison.
Eat him, eat him,
What
eat him.
poison?
Players were and still are getting pissed off at other players that are new because they are messing up their kills. If the enrage goes up, the boss, at 100% you fail. So it's really easy to grief a public instance. But, that being said, after hopping in 2 days later, as of recording this video, thanks to video guides and written guides or maps out there on Discord, it seems more players know what they are doing. It's slightly more learner friendly. For example, I hopped into the public instance in World 2, players were explaining what they were doing to others, players were telling each other where they were going, or saying that there were too little people on a single quadrant. For example, oh, we need someone at fishing, we need someone at mining. It really seems as if the community is slowly coming together and getting more used to this new bit of group content. That being said, I did hop to a few worlds to see how people communicate in public lobbies, and some players can get really toxic to people who keep making mistakes. I will say that for solo players, I understand that this boss is obviously garbage to you because you can't properly do it solo. Yes, you can do it solos. There have been solos on YouTube, I believe, but it's much harder. It's definitely not something you'd want to be doing for your kills. If we take a look at this boss from a team perspective in 4-8-man, this boss is very accessible to the average Joe. You only need to take about 5 to 50 minutes, maybe like 2 or 3 attempts to understand what's going on. And as long as you have one person explaining what you need to do, I think after a while this boss is going to seem quite easy to pretty much everyone. Another thing I like about this boss is that there's no actual deaths and the instance cost is free. That is very important. Now, I am surprised that they did make this a group boss. The reason for that is, well, let's just have a look at an old content survey from 2017. I'm aware it's quite old, but I still think it's relevant.
Cool. We then talked about bossing and the ideal size for a boss group.
See
and
here that 2 to 3 is near, very close to solo. People are interested in doing 2 to 3 encounters or bosses that are aimed for 2 to 3 that you maybe could do solo if you're high level.
Now, the reason I think this is interesting is because the majority of players like solo or 2 to 3 man PvM content. But in another section of this 2017 content survey, they reveal that about 1/3 of players doesn't even do PvM. I'm going to make a really broad generalization here, but I do think that the majority of skilling content is done solo, without talking, and perhaps AFK as well. What I'm trying to say is that I'm surprised that the boss doesn't scale in a way that solo is as easy to do as 4-man or 8-man. But let's move on. Now, I haven't done that many kills, and there's a very good reason for that. Even though the money, currently for mains anyways, seems pretty good if you can get lucky at the boss, it doesn't seem very exciting to me. This doesn't mean it's a bad boss, because it is a good boss, but it just doesn't seem very exciting. It kind of feels like I need to have other people ready to go to have a good time here because I simply do not like public lobbies. One person can mess it up for everyone if they really wanted to by griefing or by making a few mistakes because they're new, which is fine of course. It's good to have some kind of variety in content, being group content instead of solo content, but I mainly avoid group content just like raids because it feels like a chore to find people to do the boss with properly, get it done, you know, your hour or your raid kill, and go back to what you're doing. Waiting time sucks. Thankfully though, 4-manning is viable and currently it's not that hard to find 3 people, at least in my case, but I can see this becoming harder over time as prices drop. Speaking of the drops, the rare drops are tradable and not untradable parts, which is a huge plus in my book. Also, what on earth are these click boxes? They're so responsive. I have never seen something so responsive in this game ever, so it feels out of place. If you double click the mushrooms, you will go back to the other side. That's how responsive they are. As for the front itself, the scaling XP rates seem to be quite mediocre compared to other methods, but at least it's AFK and it has some uses for craftable stuff, including items that can actually be used for the boss, increasing the amount of resources you gain from a specific quadrant while lowering a different one. They also added new super potions, which are good, but where are the extreme fishing potions? Where are the extreme woodcutting potions? I think they forgot to add them or something. So overall, even though the boss isn't entirely my cup of tea, I'm glad to see the J-mods actually making every front a unique RuneScape experience. The visuals are quite eye-catchy and give me a strong sense of the Pit of Pestilence Stronghold of Security level, you know, the green level with the spiders and stuff. But even with that being said, this front will not top my current favorite front, being the Glacier front, with that incredible boss and striking ice theme. Let me know what you think about Croesus down in the comments below, or perhaps vote on my poll I made very recently. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.